Oh man, the Sapphire Reserve has been officially updated here in the flesh, and I'm not as excited as I once was just 24 hours ago. You'll see what I mean. You're going to see 1,000 videos on this, but make an exception for me. All right, I'm sick a little bit this morning. Now, bam, right here. Meet the new Chase Sapphire Reserve card coming June 23rd, 2025. And we're going to talk through all of the things that it's actually been updated and all the new credits and benefits that we have and how it's stacked up against the rumors. But the first thing you need to know before you're going to jump and upgrade this card is that this language exists. That's right. If you were thinking you were going to upgrade this card at a 550 annual fee and reap all the benefits right away, you're dead wrong. Because starting October 26, 2025, that's when you're going to start getting all the new benefits and credits that you can see all laid out right here. And yes, you do see a $300 annual travel credit and the $500 edit credit, but we'll talk about it. So just know that these changes are pretty much going into effect June 23rd, but you're not going to get those benefits until October, so like another 6 months from now. So let's go down the list and let's see how the rumors stacked up to what was true. Now, bam, of course, earnings multipliers ended up being exactly true. 8x points on Chase Travel, flights, hotels, rental cars, cruises, activities, and tours. You know, I love my tours. 4x back when you book directly with an airline or hotel. But here is the big mamba right here. This is something that most people did not see on their radar, and it's leaving people a little bit shocked and also a little bit disappointed. Well, one, you're actually still retaining the $300 most flexible, as they say themselves, travel credit in the entire game. So, yes, for anybody who's loved that credit before, it still actually exists, but they've now introduced a new credit, that being $500 for the edit. And this is going to be in increments of $250 every 6 months. If you wanted to know exactly what edit is, just think Amex's FHR, where they have these swath of properties that give you high-end luxury experiences. So you go through the portal, you book them, and you get these kind of benefits like this, where you go to the hotel, you can usually get some early check-in, hopefully late checkout, room upgrades, but you get daily breakfast for two in the amount of around $60 to $80 per day of your stay, and a $100 property credit, experience credit, use at the spa, the on-site restaurant, all these different things. Pay for your meal with this said credit. But with this credit, like I said, it's $250 every 6 months, and it is following a similar path to Amex, where it's going to be, January to June 30th, and then July 1st to December 30th or 31st, whatever the actual dates are. But the only problem with this is, if we go down a little bit here, is that the $500 credit for the edit is requiring a 2-night minimum. That's what we didn't want to hear, because that's exactly what the Amex Platinum has when you factor out the Fine Hotels and Resorts program. They have that $200 credit on the Platinum for the hotel collection that also has a 2-night minimum, and that's why nobody uses the program. So this is $50 more than the Platinum card, but you're essentially going through a 2-night minimum, which also, one thing I wanted to mention, which in my mind, this is kind of how I broke it down in the Discord. You could see it right here. I said, I still think it's largely powerful, though. I mean, if you could supplement the $300 for a 2-night minimum, meaning, is it possible to use that $300 travel credit and stack that with the $250 every 6 months edit credit? I'm not necessarily sure if that's true, but if that is true, and it's probably not, let's be honest, but if that's true, then you get a $550 credit back immediately for a 2-night stay. You're also going to be getting a $100 experience credit and about $120 and $160 in breakfast for the 2 nights that you're booking. But the only issue with this is something that Calby noted, is that it looks like the edit collection, based on this guy led COD, is usually a little bit uppriced. It's a little bit more pricey to go through edit, and I've not seen this with edit, but I've seen this with Capital One's Premier collection. But I have not seen it with Amex's FHR, Fine Hotels and Resorts, and MasterCard. So on average, he mentions here that you're going to be paying about $100 to $150 in an upcharge just by booking through the edit program. In some cases, I don't know if it's 100% true, but he mentions in some cases, which would thereby kind of cancel out a lot of that $250 credit anyway that you would get. So maybe an effective $100 or $150 in credit, thus eating into the value you'd be getting on this card. Not even to mention how expensive the actual properties actually are with the edit collection. They're higher end properties. They're usually just more luxurious. I tend to really love them, and that's why I really was exciting for this credit. But the fact that it's not a 1-night minimum, the fact that it's a 2-night minimum, severely does hurt the value, I would say, of this credit, because minimum, you're basically bottom of the barrel. You're finding a hotel stay, unless it's in Vegas, around $200 per night. So immediately, just to be forced to use this credit, you're gonna have to pay about $150, maybe $200 out of pocket for the additional stay that you may not normally need. If you do, then great. Okay, you just supplemented a stay and you're doing this anyway. I still think it is one of the most powerful credits that is on this card, and I definitely think that there is a world where this makes sense. But is it a full $500 in credits? Maybe, maybe. I mean, I still love my $100 experience credit and $60 at breakfast, but not as robust as I once thought. So that's why I'm a little bit less excited for this card based on that. So that's not, I don't want to see that. If we scroll up all the way to travel, you can see there is a points boost right here. I'm sorry, I actually skipped over this. But with a points boost, your points are worth up to 2x more on thousands of both top booked hotels, including the edit and flights with select airlines through Chase Travel. So this is pretty interesting, but just know it looks like they got rid of the 1.5x boost through the portal, which I know is going to hurt a ton of people. But they mentioned your points are worth up to 2x on thousands of top hotels. And here's one, as an example. And then premium cabin airfare. So your points are worth up to 2x on premium cabin tickets on select airlines. However, if you're really in this game, you're not necessarily doing that often unless you're just fully a domestic traveler. Most of the time, we're taking our Chase points, transferring them out, and getting way better flights and way better value. But I can understand for someone who's booking premium tickets, but I just don't think most people were doing premium tickets through the portal. I think most people were doing economy domestic, but you guys can change my mind on that below. But if we go down a little bit more and we look towards some other things, we actually have some status. Some people are wondering, are we finally going to get some sort of a hotel status? Well, yes, actually, the IHG One Rewards Platinum Elite status. Now, a lot of people have noted, I believe Sledge and a few others have noted that this status is actually not that bad, and they actually do get treated very, very well with high-end status with IHG, and even I think is below Platinum as well. So I don't have any first-hand experience with that. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below for IHG specifically, but anecdotally I hear that it can be pretty valuable. So at least we have some sort of hotel credit, right? Or hotel status, I should say. We're still going to retain the global entry TSI pre-check, and it's one of the only cards that has the Nexus credit, so very cool. It looks like we still have the same level of insurances that I saw earlier, so I don't think there's really any changes here. However, if we go down a little bit more, now we get to the dining section. Now, the dining section is also what I was pretty interested in. And it mentions here up to $300 annually in statement credits when you dine with the Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. What is exclusive tables? Well, you can see right here, the Sapphire launched in just April 18, 2025. So just a couple of months ago, this new dining program, and they mentioned to elevate your dining game. So just think in some ways, Resi or Open Table, a platform to be able to book reservations through, but also in some cases actually give you some perks by booking through the partner restaurants. Sometimes you can get some wine or free dessert and stuff like that. I don't know if this one will do that, but just some extra information for your liking. The only problem with it though is that the program only currently covers restaurants in more than 25 cities, but they're looking to expand that over time, which we know they're going to do. I mean, everyone's trying to get into the dining game now. Amex with Resi and Talk, the Built Dining Collection. Everyone wants to have their own loyalty program with so these dining programs. Essentially, they want this card to be your everything card. We want to handle everything that you would want in a travel experience: your hotels, your flights, and your restaurant experiences. Okay, and it mentioned here it is broken down in typical fashion. Get up to $150 in statement credits from January to June, and again July to December for a maximum of $300 for the entire year. Okay, cool. So $150 every 6 months, really not that bad. It's just where you're going to find one, where you're going to find a restaurant that qualifies, and how quickly will they start expanding. It looks like they have 275 dining spots across the US, so hopefully that expands to thousands and thousands very, very soon. You can see you can go through Open Table. Okay, nice. Let's keep on moving down to experiences. So again, they want the card to be everything that you encompass in life. One card to rule your life. This is one that I really don't have any personal thoughts on this, so I'll just mention. You guys can let me know down below. Apple TV Plus and Apple Music worth $250 annually. I know Calby is going to talk through exactly why he thinks this is valuable. Some people do. I don't necessarily see the benefit for me, but just know you'll get complimentary subscriptions to Apple TV and Apple Music through June 22nd, 2027, value of $250 annually. And so that's what you get with that. You're going to be getting 420, good number, with DoorDash, up to 300 annually in monthly DoorDash promos, $25 every single month to spend on DoorDash. Includes $5 promo like we had in the past, two $10 promos with like the original Reserve. Okay, so cool. You're also going to be getting a complimentary DashPad membership worth $120 annually. That's going to be all the way through 2027. So pretty cool. Lyft, interesting. Most people didn't really think about this, but I'm actually looking at this now. Get access to up to $10 in monthly in-app credits, up to $120 annually. I think that could be pretty beneficial as I'm traveling a little bit more, always taking Ubers, always taking Lyfts. If I can supplement that a little bit, sure. Is it something I'm going to be using, year round? No, definitely not. Peloton is here to stay, baby. $120 annual statement credit towards Peloton memberships. Okay, we'll skip through that. StubHub. Now, this is one that I was actually fairly interested in. So $300 in annual credits, and I think most people didn't think that this was interesting, but I'll show you why it is for me. So beginning June 23rd, 2025, get up to $300 in annual statement credits, 150 every 6 months. So again, January to June 30th, July to December 31st in true Amex fashion. Now, as far as StubHub is concerned, I wanted to look through and actually show some examples of something that my wife and I might actually do. So StubHub we've used, and we've used other platforms and stuff like this, just to book concerts, usually like one per year. We either do that or we'll go to a comedy show a couple times a year, something like that. We'll at least have like two things that we're going to every single year. So I was just scrolling down in my area of Greenville, South Carolina. I was looking, I was like, okay, maybe we want to go see Billie Eilish. It's at the Spectrum Center. That's the downtown area. It's on October 19th. So a little bit of time away, 6 months from now, something like that. So this is just theoretical. So let's see. We want to buy two tickets. We're going to be seated together. And I can see right here, the cheapest ticket right here is $200 and includes the fees for each. So this is $400 total for my wife and I to sit together. Now, one thing that I was thinking that might be interesting, and I was talking to Calby about this yesterday, is that obviously this credit alone gives you 150 every 6 months, but technically you could just wait until like June, closer to the end of June. Wait and see if there's anything coming around over the horizon over the next, few months, something like that. Book and go see Billie Eilish, do one ticket alone, right? Pay that $200, get 150 back via this credit, and then wait a day until July 1st comes, get your other $150 credit, and then book an additional seat and pray that that seat does not get taken so this way you two can sit together. I'm being a little bit facetious, but if you have this card and you have that benefit, that's exactly how I would do it. I would 100% book a comedy show, and we've booked many shows. I actually saw Willie Nelson. I've seen Bob Dylan for under $100 each, and we've seen Lumineers for about $150. So we've seen a good amount of people, a couple comedy shows around $150 each. So you can get and hit that price point. So I actually don't fully discount this like most people do. I think most people discount it, but I think if you really think about it, I think you can make it work. at least for me. I know I can make it work with how often we're going to these concerts or and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. But of course, I'm kind of in the minority, I think, with this card. But again, I'm not as excited as I was before, all of this. Okay, sorry, I'm sick. So now, what do you get after spending 75K? So much like on the rumors, a lot of people joked about it. Spend 75K on your card, you get a $500 Southwest Airlines credit. Okay, cool. $500 towards Southwest, very nice. You get A-list with Southwest and $250 shops at Chase credit. And the shops is, we still don't know, actually. I'm assuming just a shopping portal where you can use that. But I mean, it depends. Are you going to be spending 75K? You can look into it more. And then you get IHG Diamond Elite status. So on top of that, so that's all of the changes. So at least before we move on to the business version of the reserve that also was released and has a crazy minimum spend. In my mind, this card is for, again, all of these cards, as I said in my video yesterday, all they want to do is have one premium card to rule your whole life. I've been saying that this whole video. If they can set up your flight and your hotel and give you an experience in the hotel, and hopefully there's a Sapphire Reserve table in that area and they can book that dinner for you. Maybe it's a Valentine's Day, maybe it's a birthday, something like that. You can also on that stay do a concert or a comedy show, something like that, and basically just curating an entire experience using that sole card, that one card. Then I think that's the goal. And obviously, most of these partnerships keeps money in the family, right? The Edit Collection they own keeps money in the family. Sapphire Reserve they own keeps money in the family. And then they have these extended partnerships and whatnot. Okay, so now let's look at the Sapphire Reserve business. An all new card sports the same annual fee of $795, and much like the personal version of the Reserve, it looks like all the other categories are pretty much the same, with just a couple of differences, like 3x back on advertising purchases, social media sites, search engines, uncapped uncapped. So 3x back and all that. That could be a workhorse. The Reserve Business also has a $200 annual workspace credit. That's something that I actually could probably benefit from, just from some back end stuff on the website and whatever. So that's interesting. $100 on giftcards.com. I mean, man, Amex, take notes on the gift card, man. Anyway, and pretty much all of the same benefits. Still get $300 travel credit, $500 edit, $400 ZipRecruiter. I'm not sure how interesting that is. I'd like people to let me know down below. So really, all in all, what are your thoughts on all of this? For me, I'm not as excited as I was just 24 hours ago when this news was not released. I was really hoping that edit collection would be one night stay like the FHR. But if there is a possible way to stack that $300 travel credit and the edit credit, $550 for 1 2 day stay, I think that alone could recoup about $750, maybe a little less if you factor in upcharges and upcharges. So maybe like $500+ and stuff. And maybe you can get an extra 300 from reserve tables, StubHub. It makes it a little bit less attractive for me just knowing that the upcharges are on edit. What seems to be upcharges on edit, again, just don't sue me, but what people are anecdotally saying, which I have seen with the Premier collection with Capital One as well, but I didn't see on other programs. Let me know if that's wrong. But with that added fee, with those added fees and the 2 night minimum, it makes me a little bit less excited, and it doesn't make me want to jump on it as I once did. Literally just 24 hours ago, I was like, "This card's amazing," and now I'm like, "Now I got to think about it. Now I got to think about it a little bit, even with that $300 travel credit, because it's just the upcharging and the 2 night stay really hurts sometimes. It really does hurt. But again, I could be on the minority. Let me know your thoughts down below, and enjoy the next swath of creators putting it out there. Just see what their thoughts are, see what everyone thinks. You got to see the cowboy hat in the morning, though. Don't forget the cowboy hat in the morning. So take care, enjoy, have fun, and let me know what you think. All right, take care, guys. Bye bye.